This is the Bronte Sisters Complete Novels Illustrated, published in 2006 by CRW Publishing for the Collector's Library editions. This book is an absolute behemoth. It probably weighs about 5 to 10 pounds, and it is huge. I moved up the camera, but it still doesn't even fit in the frame. So here's a shot of the entire book. Now the book itself has a dust cover on it, which has a very nice design. It has the title gilded on, I guess not the title, but the name of this collection stamped on the front in gold foil. And we have this little image of a house. I don't know which house in particular, but it is a house. There's also a nice design going around the outside, somewhat like a photo frame. The spine says the Bronte Sisters Complete Novels, and we have the Collector's Library editions gilded in down here. This is not the name of the publisher, but it was probably published for a specific series. And that spine does look quite nice. Now the back has a quote from Jane Eyre, "Reader, I married him," and it has this nice little illustration. And we have the very unfortunate barcode in the bottom left corner, but it's pretty nondescript, so it's not the worst. Taking off the dust jacket, here's what it looks like. We do have these flaps on the inside. This one gives us some information about the Bronte sisters. And each of these tells us more about specific sisters. And then we have some copyright information down here and published in China. Sorry, printed in China. The book itself is surprisingly bound in this very textured cloth. It's very tactile, although it does feel like it may fray or flake at some point. But it does have quite a nice feeling to it. It's sort of like an, how do you describe it? A very old armchair or something like that, but in a good way. The spine is stamped with more of that gold foiling, which is on there quite nice. And we got that same Collector's Library Editions logo down here, but it's very worn off. So this title could probably wear off as well. And the back cover, just like the front, is completely blank. The page edges are gilded. Quite a nice job was done, although it is scratched up a lot just from wear over the years. And we do get a headband and a tailband in this nice blue and white yarn. And before getting into the actual book itself, there is a, if I can get it out of here, a little ribbon marker included. It's pretty cheap, but I'm glad that they included it anyways, and it does look pretty nice with the book. The end papers of the book themselves are this printed marbled pattern. I was hoping that it was a real marbling, not that I expected it from a book that cost only $40 retail. But unfortunately, the back has the exact same design as the front, so it is very obvious that these were printed. They still look quite nice, and they're made of a thick enough cardstock, although not thick enough to support the entire weight of this book, so they may begin to rip over time. The paper in this book is quite thin, but not thin where you think it's going to rip on every page you turn. You can see the information right here. CRW Publishing is based in Gloucester. I definitely butchered that. I butchered that bad. Here's the contents. We have Anne Bronte's Agnes Grey and Tenant of Windfell Hall. Wildfell Hall. I don't know how you say it. You get the point. Her most famous book. Charlotte Bronte, we have Jane Eyre, The Professor, Shirley, and Villette. And for Emily Bronte, we have only Wuthering Heights. The book is printed in 2 columns of text, which makes a lot of sense because it would look very silly if the text was blown up to fit the page. And the 2-column design does allow them to pack a lot more text into this book. We start with Anne Bronte, and we get a illustration at the front, which is quite nice. Tenant of Wildfell Hall, whatever it's called, Hall. We get another illustration. And I'm guessing at the beginning of each story, we will get one of those illustrations. And we do have a few scattered throughout the book, which is pretty nice. Once again, the paper is not so thin where I think I'm going to rip it, but it's thin enough to pack the 8 books or so into this giant book. And this book does lay open very nicely, and you would expect that from such a huge book, because this is definitely not lap reading. Here's the illustration for Wuthering Heights. As you can see, they fit all of Wuthering Heights into the remainder of the book, which is only maybe half an inch thick. So I'm pretty impressed. And they still managed to throw a few illustrations in there. And the final illustration of the book. And of course, the end papers at the back are the same as the front, which in this case is pretty unfortunate because I would have loved some original marbling. But that's definitely way out of the budget of this book. So, and we get that nice cloth to greet us at the end of the book. Overall, this is a pretty well-made book. It lays open nicely. It looks nice. It's bound in a pretty decent material. And overall, for the price, it's not bad at all. I believe that the retail price of this particular book is about $40. And you can get them online for $20 or less. Now, for reading the actual Bronte sisters novels, I don't think I would suggest this book, because you can't take it anywhere, and it has to constantly sit on a table. But that's all for this book. It's pretty cool. Thank you very much.